brother, worship Chaitanya Nitai with unwavering faith, renouncing material enjoyment and drowning yourself in that ras of worshipping them. Let your lips chant Hari Hari. Oh, sorry, I skipped the first line. The two lords, Nitai and Gaurachandra, are supremely merciful. They are the essence and the crown jewels of all avatars, and they are the source of absolute bliss. O brother, worship Chaitanya Nitai with unwavering faith, renouncing material enjoyment and drowning yourself in that ras of worshipping them. Let your lips chant Hari Hari. Just see, dear brother, in all the three worlds, no one bestows mercy like they do. Animals and birds shed tears, and stones melt upon hearing narrations of their glories. Gautam Das says, since you remain submerged in material enjoyment, the aspiration to take shelter of their lotus feet has not arisen. Thus, you suffer the consequences of your own misdeeds, as meted out by Lord Yama.
So, this song by Lochan Das Thakur was sung by our Srila Prabhupada. There is a pastime. I was not there, but I talked with some devotees who were there, and I don't know, maybe even Gopadev Prabhu was there. No. Atlanta, 1975. You know that one? Well, what I remember is that Srila Prabhupada was in the temple room there at the Atlanta ISKCON temple, sitting on his Vyasasana, and then he wanted to play the mridanga and sing. And in that temple they had, probably still have the same deities, I would think, of Gaura-Nitai. Large deities, brass, shiny. Remember? Did you ever pass through there? Right? Yes, Panihati. They would celebrate the Panihati festival. Shiradahi. I think that's coming up very soon on our calendar, isn't it? Shiradahi festival. So, in ISKCON in those days, it was quite rare that we would sing from the Vaishnava songbook. Although we had the first version of the Vaishnava songbook, it was called Songs of the Vaishnavacharyas, and I think Achyutananda Prabhu was instrumental in manifesting that first songbook. Remember that? Black and white picture on the cover. What was on the cover? I forget the picture. Bhaktivinoda, that's right. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's picture on the cover, but in black and white. So, of course, Srila Prabhupada very much wanted that his establishment of this Western branch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, which would be spreading all over the world, that also the songs of the Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas would be sung. How do we know that Prabhupada wanted this? What's the proof? What's the evidence that Prabhupada wanted this very, very much? Anyone can suggest?
He made so many recordings.
Yes. Before he even had an audience in New York, the New York Diary of Srila Prabhupada, which Srila Prabhupada was personally giving, what do you call it, each day, and he would add entry into his diary. So we had some idea of how Srila Prabhupada was struggling all alone, but executing his mission. And there's a couple of amazing entries. A couple. One of those entries was saying it happened to be the Gaur Purnima. I think it was the Gaur Purnima day, perhaps. Prabhupada was all alone in the room that he had rented in this office building, some blocks away from Dr. Mishra's apartment, where Prabhupada would walk to cook, bathe every day. But he would hold his own programs. So we're looking at March sometime in 1966, his entry. So he said in his entry that he is feeling separation from the Holy Dham, so far away. And there, the Vaishnavas will be celebrating very big festivities for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And Prabhupada, he then switched the subject. And he said, but I am all alone here. Nevertheless, if I can have facility to preach my mission, he said like that, to preach my mission, which means the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, of course. But he said, if I can have facility to preach my mission, I am willing to go even to hell. If I can have facility to preach my mission. And then another entry, quite often he would write the names of the people who came, Mrs. Such and Such and Mr. Such and Such. And sometimes there was one or two people, three, I don't know what the maximum was, who came. But Srila Prabhupada was recording. He was recording his lectures. That's how we know he had his TR, tape recorder. He called it his TR. And one entry, no one showed up that evening to his class. I think he was holding his class 3 times a week, 3 evenings a week, something like that. But he said that no one has come. But I still continue to have kirtan and to give lecture with my TR, without even an audience. You know that statement of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? To preach to the walls. Pure devotees of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, they are willing to preach in any condition, any time, place, circumstance. So, Srila Prabhupada recorded many songs in the early days just with his tape recorder. And somebody also had like a, you know how they have like 2-track recording or something like that? So Srila Prabhupada also, he would record, he would play kartals and sing different songs of the acharyas. And then on another recording, he would listen to it and he would play mridanga to the song. So Srila Prabhupada was recording the songs of the Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas. And of course, he didn't want this to take root in ISKCON. And he personally introduced, particular songs which became the main songs that would always be sung in his temples. For example, Mangalartik song was Gurvastakam. Gurvastakam, Panchatattva Mahamantra, and Hare Krishna Mantra. That was Mangalartik song. And at noontime, then after some years, then Vyasamati Nanda was introduced. Then in the evening, Kiba Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande, Arotike Shobha, but no Jaya Jaya Radha Krishna. And it was also quite short, because in Bengal, every evening we hear how they sing the song, Gaudiya Vaishnavas sing the song, but they add many, many refrains and many, many additional lines. Most of the Western devotees can't quite make out exactly what they're saying because of the blaring speakers, but nevertheless they're singing these ecstatic songs. And of course, there's the all-time classic. What classic is that? Jaya Radha Madhava. But all these Vaishnava songs that we now have gone through probably 6 different versions of the song by now. Even in our branch of Gaudiya Math, I think there was at least 5 versions, right? Gaudiya Giti Gucha. And I'm happy to say that what we currently have, we have to give some thanks to Madhukar Prabhu. He did so much work, and also to Rishabdev Prabhu, who also did some editing and some of the songs. Yeah. So now we have this ecstatic, and we even have it on our phone. And not only that, but we also have what? We have a whole website, right? Call it a website, or do you call it a blog, or what do you call it? An app. Yes, we have this app. Is it completed yet, or what's still developing? Okay. And there on that app, we also have the songs listed, and we have the synonyms, correct? And then we also have a few samples of melodies used to sing those songs. So, I wanted to make the point about this song, Parama Karuna. I don't know if some of you have heard this before, but the older devotees know that Srila Prabhupada sang this song on the Vyasa in Atlanta, Georgia, and playing the mridanga like that. And he sang a very sweet melody. I think it was something like Parama Karuna Bahudvijana Nitai Gaura Chandra Savayavatar Sara Shiromani Kevalaya Nanda Kanda. And in his own inimitable way, he sang this song, Parama Karuna. And Prabhupada was weeping when he sang this song. After that, he talked about how merciful Lord Nityananda are. How merciful they are. So, when we sing these songs, we should try to take the opportunity to go deep into the meaning of the songs and actually open our heart, because our acharyas, they are actually opening their heart and exposing all of their bhavs and all of their moods in these songs in such beautiful poetical ways. So this is some of the greatest wealth on our planet, actually. Some of the greatest wealth on our planet are these Gaudiya Vaishnava songs by our great, great Rupanuga Acharyas. So here, Lochan Das Thakur is saying that these 2 lords, Pahu Dvijana, Pahu is short for Prabhus, Pahu Dvijana, Nitai Gaura Chandra. These 2 lords are Parama Karuna. What is the meaning of Parama Karuna? You have to speak louder because of the fans.
supreme compassion.
Supremely merciful, supremely compassionate. There is no comparison to them. Parama Karuna, Bahudvijana, Nitai, Gaurachandra. These two lords are the supremely merciful personalities. And then he gives a further fact that out of all different avatars that have ever appeared, Sabha Avatara. Sub-avatara means all incarnations. Sar Shiromani. Sar Shiromani means they are the very crown jewels, the essence of all incarnations. And Kevala Anandakanda. Kevala Anandakanda. They are the source of absolute Ananda, bliss, ecstasy. You can't get better than that. Can you? Supremely merciful. Essence of all incarnations. And simply, Srila Prabhupada would say, simply joyful. Simply full of Ananda. Their process that they're giving also, not difficult. You don't have to fast. You don't have to go into the forest all alone, pressing your nose, breathing for many hours. No. Kevala Anandakanda. What did Mahaprabhu do here in Navadvip Dham? Did he and his bhaktas sit down and meditate chanting Om? No. They danced. They sang. They went everywhere. Kevala Ananda Kanda. Simply full of Ananda, mercy. So now, Lochan Das Thakur, who has realized what he just wrote, he says, "Oh brother, Bhajo Bhajo Bhai, Bhajo Bhajo Bhai, just worship Chaitanya Nitai, Chaitanya Nitai, Bhajo Bhajo Bhai, Chaitanya Nitai, Sudridha Vishwas Kari, Sudridha Vishwas Kari." Sudridha Vishwas Kari means what? With firm determination, unwavering faith, just worship Chaitanya Nitai. And then he says, Vishayacharya Sera Se Majiya. What do you have to do in order to successfully worship Chaitanya Nitai? There's two things you have to do. Vishayacharya Sera Se Majiya. Vishayacharya means give up this useless, completely impossible endeavor to enjoy the objects of the senses in this world. Huh? Don't keep on racing around life after lifetime in every different species of life, chasing after Vishaya. No. Now, you abandon that. You renounce the so-called material enjoyment and say rase majya. Merge yourself. Drown yourself. Say rase majya means drown yourself in this rasa. And do what? Mukke bolo hari hari. Mukke bolo hari hari. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now he's trying to reason with us. He said, look here, just see. Oh brothers, Dekka ore bai. Tri bhuvane nai, emona doyala datam. In the whole three worlds, Tri bhuvane nai, there is not anyone as merciful as these two brothers. No. How do we know that? How do we know that this is a fact? Because it's recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because it's recorded by the great acharyas. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only gave praying to human beings, Pashu Paki Jude Pashana Vidare Shuni Jara Gunagata. What happened? Oh, animals and birds. They shed tears. Animals and birds shed tears when they heard Gaur Nityananda and the narration of their glories. Animals and birds would shed tears. Stones would melt. We know that when Mahaprabhu went through Jarikanda forest, the entire forest, all the animals, we have it right here in the Samadhi, yes? I like that one. You know that one? Where they're showing Mahaprabhu chanting and dancing in the Jarikanda forest, and the bears are there, and the tigers are there, the deer are there, what? Elephants are there, up on their hind legs dancing, with their trunks up in the air. Yes? Monkeys, chipmunks, all the forest animals became overwhelmed by praying. This is not a small thing to do. The animals, all the different species of animal life, they are very much deeply, deeply sunk in the mode of ignorance. But Mahaprabhu's distribution of Krishna praying, Nityananda Prabhu's distribution of Krishna praying, he even could give to the animals. So, that's the evidence. There is no one as merciful as Gaur Nityananda. But Lochan Das Thakur is lamenting, and he's saying to himself, Samsare Majia Rohili Padiya Sepade Nahilavasha. Actually, he's saying it to us. Samsare Majia Rohili Padiya. Since you continue to remain submerged in samsara, material existence, material enjoyment, sepadena hilavasha, your asha, your desire to take shelter of their lotus feet has not arisen in your heart. That's your own fault. Because you want to remain absorbed in the material existence. And he says, Apana karama munjaye shamana kohoye lochano das. And thus, apana karama, you are suffering because of the result of your own misdeeds. And now, kohoye lochano das. Now the suffering is coming, being given out by who? Yama. Yamaraj. So you have two choices. Either Yamaraj or the ecstasy of Gaur Nityananda's distribution of Krishna praying. Which one do you want? If you want Yamaraj, very easy. Just forget everything and just go dive into the material existence. And very short time you'll see Yamaraj and his associates. Okay. Gurve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Itadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangam Nangayate Girin Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauratishe Namah Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kiptascha Kamali Taranga Madhye Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Pravanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvinam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta everyone Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare I'm offering my obeisances at the lotus feet my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nityalila Pravishno Vishnupad Paramahamsa Statara Sata Shri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada and then I'm offering my same Dandavat pranams at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Sikh Shri Gurudevs Nityalila Pravishno Vishnupad Paramahamsa Statara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nityalila Pravishno Vishnupad Paramahamsa Ashtatara Shata Shri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering my Dandavat pranams at the lotus feet of all my Sri Rupananda Guru Varga. And I offer my Dandavat pranams to all of the Vaishnavas and all of the Vaishnavis. So, in our reading of the 4th chapter of Adi Lila, we arrived at text 50. And in our last class, we read about 3 wonderful purports of Srila Prabhupada. The last verse that we read, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Ataiva se bhav angikar kori Sadi le nija vancha Gauranga Shri Hari. Therefore, Lord Gauranga, who is Shri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. Now, there are 2 verses being quoted next by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and they are from what is called the Pratama Sri Chaitanya Ashtakam number 2, and the Dvitiya Sri Chaitanya Ashtaka number 3, from the Stavamala of Srila Rupa Goswami. These 2 verses are glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in an extremely beautiful way. Shreshanam durgam gatir atishayeno panishadam muninam sarvasvam pranata patalinam madhurima Viniryasa premno nikila pashupalam bhujadrisham Sachaitanya kimme punarapi drisharyasyati padam Shudeshanam durgam gatir atishayeno panishadam Muninam sarvasvam pranata patalinam madhurima Viniryasa premno nikila pashupalam bhujadrisham Sachaitanya kimme punarapi drisharyasyati padam. So there's different Chaitanya Ashtakams. There's a few different Chaitanya Ashtakams, 8 verses. And so Rupa Goswami has written some of them and also collected them together in his book Stavamala. So here he's making a declaration that Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods. Sureshanam Durgam Gatir. He is the goal of the Upanishads. He is the be-all and end-all of the great sages. He is the beautiful shelter of his devotees. And he is the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? Text 52. Aparam kasyapi pranay jana vrindasya kutuki rasastomam hritva madhuram upabhoktum kamapiya rucham svam avavre Dyutimiha tadiyam prakatayan Sadevas chaitanya kritir atitaramna kripayatu Sadevas chaitanya kritir atitaramna kripayatu. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. I'm reading this again. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels. Which one is that? One of the multitude of his loving damsels. He desired to taste her love. Who is that? That Krishna desired to taste her love. He's not mentioning her name here. Who is it? Huh? Srimati Radhika. Of course. There is no one else. So, Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarine mellows. Limitless nectarine mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, namely Sri Radha. And so, he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. To do what? Why did he assume the form of Lord Chaitanya? To taste the love, the nectarine, limitless mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. So he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion. With what? With her effulgent yellow color. Yes. He's hiding. Did you know that? Lord Chaitanya is hiding. He's Krishna, but he's not showing his Krishna color. What color is he showing? The effulgent yellow color of Srimati Radhika. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. Sadevas Chaitanya Kritir Atitaram Na Kripayatu. So Prabhupada says that this is from the Stavamala. Now, why did he quote these two verses? Why did Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami just now quote these two verses? Because this is completely in line with what he is revealing about Lord Chaitanya being Krishna, wanting to taste Srimati Radhika's prema. So now he's switching back to Bengali, and he says, Bhava grahaner hetu, koilo dharma stapan, tar mukhya hetu kahi, shuna sarvajan. So here now he's asking all of us, please listen, all of you people who are reading this book that I have written, even though 538 years ago, whatever it was, that Lord Chaitanya descended. But all of you are now reading this, so I am asking all of you, please hear me. Everyone listen very carefully. He says, to accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared. And he reestablished the religious system for this age. That was not the real reason, the main reason to establish the religious system for this age. No. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason. And he also reestablished the religious system for this age. I shall now explain that reason. Everyone please listen. Now he says, I already gave some hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared. And now I shall manifest its full meaning. So up till now, he's only given a hint. Krishnadas Kaviraj has only given some hints about the first verse, about the verse. Now he's quoting the verse, which he's going to explain in dozens and dozens and practically a couple of hundred verses he's going to explain. Yes. So what is the verse that he's going to explain? This verse is from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. He wrote this verse, and it is appearing as the fifth of the first 14 verses. So there were already 4 verses that were explained prior to this, but now he's explaining the 5th verse. What is the 5th verse? Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Alladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmanava Pibhuvi Puradeha Bedam Gutoto Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naomi Krishna Swarupa. Everybody repeat. Radha Krishna. Pranaya Vikritir. Alladini Shaktir. Asmad Ekatmanab Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gato Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. So, this love of Radha Krishna, that is our highest worshipable objective. What is it? Radha Krishna Pranay Vikritir Alladini Shaktir Asmad. That means that it is a vikriti, a transformation of the Hladini Shakti potency of Srimati Radhika. Yeah. So, Radha and Krishna, the love of Radha and Krishna, and all of their loving pastimes and affairs, they are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency, Hladini Shakti. You've all heard this word before, Hladini Shakti. Very important. This is the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna. It comes from Krishna. But the potency and the potent are one and also different. So that potency, Hladini Shakti, is actually Srimati Radhika. Her body is the manifestation of Hladini Shakti potency. And her body actually is the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence. What is that? It will be explained in the 4th chapter. The essence of Prem is Bhav. The essence of Bhav is what? Mahabhav. And the essence of Mahabhav is what? Can't hear. What? Yes, Madanakya Mahabhav. So, the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of Hladini Shakti potency is ultimately Srimati Radhika's Mahabhav. And guess what she is made of? She's not made of skin and hair and bones and all the things that our bodies are made of. No. She's made of Mahabhav. It's hard for us to imagine. She's made of the highest love. One time we were walking with Srila Gurudev in the Philippines, Manila. It was the second time that Gurudev came to the Philippines. And Gurudev went for a morning walk. That was the first day that he had arrived. He was only going to stay for 3 days, and then he was going to fly to a nearby, another island of the Philippines called Cebu Island. And there he's going to have a writing retreat for 1 month. So, Srila Gurudev was on the morning walk, and he came upon you know how they lay the cement in kind of like square shapes, right? They lay the cement for the sidewalks in squares, which are very close together, but they're separate squares. And sometimes, you know, when they're laying the cement is still wet. And somebody takes a stick, and you can write something in the cement. When it dries, you cannot take it out. You know that. Everybody's seen this before. So Gurudev noticed that on this block of cement, somebody had taken a stick and they wrote these words: God is love. Everyone say that. God is love. Again.
God is love.
God is love.
God is love.
So Gurudev stood there. He saw these words. And then he said, yes. God is love. And then he said, and love is God. God is love, and love is God. And he didn't go into any explanation at that time. Then, that day, it was the Sunday feast. We invited the public to come and have the darshan of the Mahapagwat Rasik, Braj Rasik Vaishnava, who happens to be placing his lotus feet in the city of Manila. So we had a nice turnout of devotees and people. In Gurudev's lecture, he said those words. He said, God is love. God is love. And love is God. So it was interesting because we happen to know the 4th chapter of the Adi Leela, wherein it is being described who is Radha, who is Krishna, what is their tattva, Radha tattva and Krishna tattva. So, who is Krishna? Rasika Shekhar Krishna. Krishna is the supreme expert taster of all rasa. What does rasa mean? Rasa means love, loving ecstasy. It means loving, ecstatic mellows. But just in short, Gurudev said, it means love. Krishna is made of love. God is love. We told this the other day, Raso Vaisaha, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is stated there. Raso Vaisaha, that he is rasa. So Gurudev was using these English words and some expression that probably a Christian person had written on the sidewalk. But then he also added, love is God. Why is Gurudev saying, first, God is love, agreeing with that, and then he's saying, love is God? Can anyone tell me? What do you think?
Shakti and Shaktiman are different from each other.
What?
The Shakti and Shaktiman is not different from each other.
Yes, but you have to be more specific. Yes.
Because in this material world, for example, any love that we feel, this is the manifestation. It comes from Vladimir Shakti. So that's why all love that exists here in Brahma majority of the spiritual world, all kind of love, from each level. This is Srimad Radha's.
Yeah. So, Mahabhav Swarupini Shri Radha Thakurani. We will hear that verse later on. Mahabhav Swarupini. What does that mean? What is Mahabhav? We already said that Mahabhav is the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of Hladini Shakti. And Krishna, God, Krishna, is made of rasa, and he's the supreme taster of rasa. So God is love. He is made of rasa, loving ecstasy. And there's two, not one. Shakti, Shakti Mator, Abedam. Shakti, the energy, the Shakti, the potency, and Shakti Mator, the possessor of the potency, Abeda. There is no difference between them. They're both God. The Vaishnava conception is the most complete conception of God ever in any universe, because it's coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and coming from Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedanta Sutra. Srimad Bhagavatam is the explanation of Vedanta Sutra. So, God is love means Krishna is made of rasa. He's made of love. And love is God means the receptacle of all love, the Ashraya Vigraha Srimati Radhika, is made of Mahabhav. So love is God. Okay? Understand this? Yes or no? Are you understanding? Such a simple statement by Gurudev, but he saw the fullest extent of that and the deepest meaning of those couple of words. God is love. God is love. Anybody can say God is love, but do they know what love is? No, they don't know what love is. They have only a perverted idea of love. But transcendental love is Radha and Krishna. Yes. So, now, the loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. And although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, did you hear that? Radha and Krishna are one. Actually, they're one in their identity. But here, Sri Damodar Goswami is saying, previously, they separated themselves into two. Yes. Although they're one, but they separated themselves into two. And now, these two transcendental identities have again united. Again, they've united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Who?
Shri Krishna.
Who?
Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
These two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he says, I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and the complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. There is no more relishable topic than this. Everything stems from this. In all the books of the Goswamis, all of Mahaprabhu's teachings to Rupa Goswami, Sanat, it all stems from this. Yes. So now, we're going to hear Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami really explain in detail what? This verse. Listen carefully. He has asked us to listen carefully. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Dui Deha Dhari Anyonye Vilase Rasa Asvadana Kari. Radha Krishna Ek Atma. That means Radha and Krishna are one Atma, one self, not two. But Dui Deho Dhari. They have assumed two different dehas, bodies. Understand? Radha and Krishna are one Atma, but they have assumed two different forms. Anyonye vilase rasa asvadana kori. Why? In this way, they are enjoying each other, tasting the mellows of love. Rasa asvadana kori. Anyonye vilase. Anyonye means one another. They are enjoying one another and tasting the rasas. So here, Srila Prabhupada is telling us, what does that mean? Here it is. The two transcendentalists, Radha and Krishna, they are a puzzle to the materialists. Can materialists understand Radha and Krishna? No. They are a puzzle. But the above description of Radha and Krishna from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, it is a condensed explanation. But one needs great spiritual insight to understand the mystery of these two personalities. What does one need? Great spiritual insight to understand the mystery of Radha and Krishna. One is enjoying in two. Very simple. One is enjoying in two. Sri Krishna is the potent factor, and Srimati Radharani is the internal potency. According to Vedanta philosophy, there is no difference between the potent and the potency. They are identical. We cannot differentiate between one and the other any more than we can separate fire from heat. Okay, I'm going to give you a beautiful fire, like we have the fire yajnas. Now you have to come and you have to take the heat away from the fire and separate them into two. Is that possible? Huh? Is that possible? How about the sun planet? Can you separate the sun rays from the sun planet? You can try. You will die. You will fail. But you cannot. So the energy and the energetic, this is very, very important in the philosophy of Vedanta Sutra, and especially in the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we cannot differentiate between Radha and Krishna any more than we can separate fire from heat. Everything in the Absolute is inconceivable in the relative existence. This is the relative existence that we're living in the material world. But everything in the absolute existence, it is inconceivable in the relative existence. And therefore, in the relative cognizance, it is very difficult to assimilate this truth of the oneness between the potent and the potency. Okay? It is not easy to do that. The philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference propounded by Lord Chaitanya is the only source of understanding for such intricacies of transcendence. So, what is the name of the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That is, he is explaining about oneness and difference between the Absolute and his energy. What's the name of that philosophy? Huh? No. What's the first word in that name? Achintya. Everyone say Achintya. Achintya. Do you know what Achintya means? means you can't think about it. It's achintya. You can try, but it's inconceivable. Achintya. This is a very important word in our vocabulary. Yeah. Because God is achintya. He's inconceivable. Everything about Him is inconceivable. But does that mean that someone cannot know Him? Because He's inconceivable? What do you think? He's inconceivable. That means you can't know Him. But does that mean that no one can know Him? No. You can know Him. You can know Him if He wants to reveal Himself. Now I'm going to tell you the beautiful, beautiful statement made by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. One of his all-time classic statements. Infinite and finite. The infinite and the finite. So God is the infinite, supreme, absolute being. What are we? Are we infinite? No, we are finite. We are very tiny and we are limited. We are finite. But He is very great and He is infinite. There is no limit. So one time a person was challenging Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. He told the story. He was preaching, I think, in South India. And this man said, it is impossible for the infinite to be known by the finite. It is impossible for the finite to know the infinite. It is impossible, this man said. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, you say that it is impossible for the finite to know the infinite. But I say that if He is infinite, if He cannot make Himself known to the finite, He's not infinite. Do you understand this point? He's infinite. He can do anything. But you're saying He's infinite and the finite cannot know Him. But I say, if He is infinite, then He has the power to make Himself known to the finite. Gaura Premanande. You understand this point? This is what we're reading about here. This is what Prabhupada is saying in the purport here. The philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference. Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. Say that. Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. Again. Once more. What does it mean? It means inconceivable, Bhed, difference, and Abhed, non-difference. Inconceivable, difference, and non-difference. This is the absolute truth. Tattva. This is the absolute truth. So, this is the only source, Prabhupada is saying, this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, propounded by Lord Chaitanya, is the only source of understanding for such intricacies of transcendence. In fact, Radharani is the internal potency of Sri Krishna. And she eternally intensifies the pleasure of Sri Krishna. What does she eternally do? She intensifies the pleasure of Sri Krishna. That's her function. Impersonalists. Oh, impersonalists. That. Impersonalists. We don't like impersonalists. Impersonalists cannot understand this without the help of a Mahabhagavad devotee. No, it's impossible. It's impossible for impersonalists to understand this without the help of a Mahabhagavad devotee. The very name Radha. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comforts of Sri Krishna. And as such, she is the medium transmitting the living entity's service to Sri Krishna. Understand this point? She is the medium. No one can serve Krishna without Radha. She's the medium through which every living entity serves Krishna. She transmits the living entity's service to Krishna. The devotees in Vrindavan, therefore, devotees in Vrindavan, they seek the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to be recognized as loving servitors of Sri Krishna. And therefore, what are they always saying in Vrindavan? Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Why? Why? Why are they saying it? Because they understand this very important point. That they cannot approach Krishna. They cannot be recognized as loving servitors of Krishna without the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he personally approaches the fallen conditioned soul. He personally approaches the fallen conditioned souls. Who's ever done that before? Is there ever any avatar of Krishna that has personally gone door to door and approached all the fallen conditioned souls? But he does. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally approaches the fallen conditioned souls of the Iron Age Kali Yuga to deliver the highest principle of transcendental relationships with the Lord. That's what he's coming to give. The highest principle of transcendental relationships with the Lord. So the activities of Lord Chaitanya are primarily in the role of the pleasure-giving portion of his internal potency. That means Radharani. So, this is the last paragraph, and we're going to finish. The absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the omnipotent form of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss in full. Who is Krishna? The absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the omnipotent form of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss in full. That's why Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He is the form of Satchit Ananda. So, in other words, his internal potency is exhibited first as Sat, existence. Or in other words, it is exhibited as the portion that expands the existence function of the Lord. His internal potency. When the same internal potency displays full knowledge, then it is called Chit or Samvit, which expands the transcendental forms of the Lord. And finally, when the same potency plays as a pleasure-giving medium, it is known as Ladini, or the transcendental blissful potency. Thus, the Lord manifests his internal potency in three transcendental divisions. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj says, Say Dui Ek Ebe Chaitanya Gosai Rasa Asvadite Dohe Hoila Ek Kai. Now, to enjoy rasa, these two personalities, Radha and Krishna, have appeared in one body as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaur Premanandi. We will continue in our next class on Sunday and continue with this nectar. If you understand what we're telling in this class, you will understand Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's what Gurudev told. This 4th chapter, you understand it, you try to grasp it very deeply within your heart, within your mind, you will understand the postgraduate study of Srimad Bhagavatam even, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, Hare Krishna. What melody? What tune? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Panchatattva ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Depai Priyai Keshavasya Cha, Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah, Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
This is the